Welcome back to part 2 of my Q&A session for February. So let's get into this. Hi and welcome back to the channel again. I hope you're all well. This is part 2 of my Q&A session for February. Now I'm getting a lot of new subscribers to the channel and a lot more questions being asked each month. So I decided to split the Q&A session down into a couple of videos. If you've not seen part 1, I'll leave a card up on the screen so you can go check that out. But this is part 2. And in this video, I've just got 7 questions that I've randomly picked from my YouTube channel. Questions that I don't think I've either answered before or maybe it's people I've not replied to on a video before. So if you're new to the channel, it might be the first time you get a shout out or it might be the first time you get your question answered on a video like this. So I hope you like this and let's get straight into them. So question number 1 I've got is from Tortoise Cash, another YouTuber who's got a great channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. And his question is, how do you pay your writers? I've been using Pioneer and PayPal and I'm trying to figure out if I'm supposed to fill out a 1099 form for my writers. Now, Tortoise Cashflow, I presume you're in the US and we over here in the UK don't need to fill out that form. Well, as far as I know, my accountant says I don't, so I'm going with his judgment. All my writers are individual contractors, so they're all self-employed. And all they do is I submit the piece of work I want to them, give them a guideline of how much I'm going to pay, how many words I want. They will complete the work, send the work back to me. Once we've checked it and it's all good, I'll then tell them to go ahead and submit an invoice. They will then invoice me from their method of choice. It could be that they create an invoice themselves, even just use a Word document. Some of the writers create an invoice through Pioneer, and then I can pay through Pioneer. And some of them even create the invoices through PayPal, and I'll get a notification from PayPal saying there's a writer waiting to be paid. And then obviously my PayPal account and my Pioneer account are linked to my business account, and I pay them directly from there. That way, we've always got a record of the transaction. And then I also, every time I do make a payment, I make a copy of that invoice and I put it into the file for whichever website it's relevant to. So if I've got a writer writing on, let's say, a pet website, then that invoice will go into that website file, and then I know exactly how much I'm spending on each website. So then if I ever come to sell it, I know how much I've invested in it and what my return is. So I can't really comment on the 1099 form. I do believe that is a form that you need to fill out in the US for obviously keeping your books and paying your taxes right. But here in the UK, we don't really have that form, so it's not applicable to me. And the second question we've got is from AB Edits, and you ask, now your site has been around for 1.5 to 2 years. If you write an article today, did it rank faster on Google? So same 6 months time will it take? So I think AB Edits is referring to as a site matures, let's say it's 1.5 years old, and you produce a piece of content, you publish it, will it instantly appear in Google and will it instantly start showing up in the SERP index? And also, will it maybe rank faster for that keyword? Rather than a new website often publishes a piece of content and you have 5 or 6 months to wait before you get out of the Google sandbox, before your content will actually start appearing in the SERP index. So to answer that question, yes, it does appear faster. In fact, the older your site is and the more authority your site is, the quicker your content will appear. So my biggest website at the moment is a pet website. I do have what I call a mega website, which I'm building out. But at the moment, that's young and doesn't have a lot of authority. But my pet website is currently the biggest one and does have some authority. And I can publish a piece of content and within, the quickest I've seen is 7 minutes. Within 5, 6, 7 minutes, it can actually show up in the SERP index. And I know a lot of bigger websites can instantly get their articles appearing on page 1, even number 1 spot on page 1 within like half an hour or something like that. It's incredible. The more authority your site has, the more authoritative backlinks it has, and the more presence it has within Google, then the quicker your content will rank. So to answer that, 1.5 years, if your website's 1.5 years and it has an authority and you press publish, you should see it ranking pretty quick within Google. It used to be ultra fast, Now Google has changed their algorithm around a little bit and it is taking a little bit longer. But I would expect if your site is a year and a half old and it has, let's say, a domain authority of 25 or above, then I would expect to see it somewhere in the rankings within 3 or 4 days maximum. If you don't see it appearing in the SERP index within 2 or 3, 4 days, then there's probably an issue. You could then try and manually force indexing it through the Google Search Console, and that might just make Google aware that you've published a new piece of content and you want it ranking. But yeah, certainly age of a domain and authority of the domain will improve the chances of it ranking faster. And the next question we have is from Devan, and Devan asked, what do you think about Empire Flippers valuations? They only take into consideration profit, not gross revenue. If you spend a lot on content, they minus this from the valuation. So I think this was a question Devan's asked when I was going to sell one of my biggest pet websites with Empire Flipper, and they gave me a valuation. Now, Devan is 100% correct. They do give you the valuation on your profit, so all your earnings from the website minus what you've spent over a period of time. So it could be, let's have a look at your earnings over the last 6 months, and let's take away what you spent on that website over the last 6 months, and that leaves you with a figure. Then they will give that a multiple, anywhere from 31, I've seen as high as 42 multiple, and they will times that by the multiple. So if your website has earned $10,000 in the last 6 months, but you spent $9,000 over that period of time, then you've only made $1,000 profit. That's where they will get the multiple from, and that's where they will value your website. So what can you do to improve that valuation? When you decide that you want to sell the website, I suggest you don't invest any more into content or don't spend any more on plugins or anything like that for at least the next 3 to 6 months. Give yourself the best chance of earning the most profit for those 3 to 6 months, so that when you submit your site to Empire Flippers for evaluation, they will put on it the highest price you can get, because the last 3 or 6 months will be pretty much all profit. So that's what I do. If I know I'm going to sell a website, let's say in June, and it's January, I stop adding content to it and I'll leave it for that 6 months, so that when I get to June, I'll get the highest multiple possible, because it will be all profit. I've not spent anything extra on content, and that way you'll see the most return for your investment. And the next question we've got here is from Andrew, and Andrew asks, how long have you been doing this business and how big was your first site? Your current projects are clearly not for beginners. Well, Andrew, I've been in affiliate marketing now for around 3.5 years, and you're right, my first site was absolutely tiny. In fact, my first site was built watching a tutorial from Alex over at WP Eagle. I sat there for 4 hours, followed the tutorial from start to finish, and I ended up with a website, a fully functioning website. And in fact, Alex has got a video out at the minute, a new tutorial, and he features me in the beginning of the tutorial. So if you want to go check that out, I will leave a link in the description. So if you wanted to start a website from scratch, I suggest you sit down, follow that instruction step by step, the full 4 hours, and you will end up with a website, or you'll be very, very near to publishing your first website. So you're right, my first website was a little website called everythingmontypython.com. I let the domain lapse. I wish I'd have kept it. It still actually makes me some commissions, believe it or not. I set up a Facebook group. You can go check that out. Go on Facebook and search Everything Monty Python. You'll see my Facebook group. In fact, I think it's got about 4,000 or 5,000 followers on it now. But I let the website go to waste, and I wish I'd renewed the domain. But at the time when I first started, I had very little money, and it was something like $25 to renew it, and I just let it go. You're right, it was a tiny website, had about 20 articles on it. I actually loved it. I thought it was okay. It looked terrible, but the articles was kind of from the heart. Monty Python's been a passion of mine for a long time, and I wrote them articles with love. You know, they was my experience, how Monty Python shaped my life when I was younger. Oh, the fun times I had with friends watching Monty Python films and having film nights and going to the cinema to watch it. You know, it shaped my life, and I put that into my articles, and I think that's why they did okay. But like I say, I moved on what I thought was bigger and better things, and my next website was certainly much bigger. But I wish I'd have kept it. I think it'd have been great to be able to show you now what that site looks like and where I've come from starting that website to where I am now. But Andrew, you're right, my current projects are really not beginner friendly ones, but I do share all my websites. I do share some of my beginner friendly websites. And in fact, my website giveaway that I'm doing at the minute is aimed at beginners. It's aimed at building a website that viewers can follow who's maybe just getting into building websites and for beginners. And then I'm going to obviously give that website away. So I have my mega projects and I have my high ticket item websites. And yes, they are quite advanced and they are my primary source of income. And yeah, they're advanced websites for sure. But I do talk about everything. And in fact, the next few videos I've got coming out are actually aimed at some real beginner audience. I have a few subscribers on my channel now that are total brand newbies, and they've been asking me some questions like, what is the Amazon affiliate program and what's the best way of getting the most out of the Amazon affiliate program? So I am going to produce a few videos around that topic, so you'll see a few more videos that, you know, maybe if you've been on my channel a couple of years, you might think, you know, why is he making this video? I know all that. But there are a lot of people on my channel that, you know, are starting right at the very beginning. So I will try and create some content for newbies and beginners, and hopefully I can put a mix of advanced videos, keyword research videos, and some beginner content on the channel as well. And the next question I've got is from Adam M. And Adam asks, hi Carl, just a question about Ezoic integration. What method did you use to link your site to Ezoic? And did it affect the site speed? Well, Adam, that's a question I get asked all the time. I'm a big fan of Ezoic, and in fact, if you watched any videos recently, you'll know Ezoic is offering a Access Now program. It's kind of an early access into the Ezoic platform. Normally you need 10,000 page views, but they're allowing people to get in early, even if your site's new or got very little traffic. So yes, I am a big fan with them, and I've tried multiple ways of integrating sites with Ezoic. I've tried adding the name servers, and I've also used the plugin as well. And to be fair, I have success with both. So if you use the plugin or their Chrome extension, then you can place the adverts wherever you want within your articles or your website. So this is really good if you don't want adverts to appear on certain pages. Let's say you've got a money page that brings in you the majority of your commissions. You might not want any ads on there to spoil the look and the feel of that page. So using the plugin is a really good way of being able to control where you want the ads to go, the size and the type of ads that appear, and you have full control over it. However, the downside of that is it does take some setting up. You do really need to learn how to place the adverts and how many to have per page, and there are a few settings that you'll need to go through. So I suggest if you use the plugin, the Chrome extension, you do watch some tutorials or some videos. Ezoic has a lot of helpful resources, and there's also some great channels out there that have shown you step by step how to set up these ads. I know Shaun over at Niche Safari, he has a video that's really in depth on setting it up. And I know Shaun Mars also has a really in-depth tutorial on setting up the Ezoic ad placements. But if you go for the name server option, then what that does, it allows its AI technology and their systems to optimize the ads and place the most efficient and effective ads on your site. Yes, you do get a lot of ads on your website sometimes, and sometimes I feel like I have to rein them in a little bit, but they're going for maximum revenue. And at the end of the day, I'm in it to make income, I'm in it to make ad revenue, so I go for that option more or less all the time, so that I get the maximum revenue from my ads. And then if I find that it's a little bit overwhelming or it looks a little bit too intrusive, then I can rein it in a little bit and control it. You still have control of it. You can tell the AI system and go into the settings and you can say, I only want, let's say, 5 ads on each page, no more than that. You can control it still, even if you're using the name servers, so don't panic, you're not handing over total control over to Ezoic. You still have your finger on the pulse and you can still control it. So I've seen great results from both, and it's up to you which one you use. I would personally go with the name servers to start with, see how that goes, and if it optimizes and maximizes your revenue. And you might be fine with that, and if you find that's too much, you can then always take them off and manually use the Chrome extension. And to answer, did it slow your site speed down? Well, I use their site speed accelerator tool, which really helps with performance. But let's get this clear, let's get this out there. Any website that has display ads is going to see a slower site speed. Not a lot. I mean, I've still got, in fact, all my sites load at under 1 second. So all my sites are loading fast and all green metrics on Core Web Vitals. So, you know, it's a myth that people say you put ads on your site and your Core Web Vitals goes down the pan or your site speed crashes. If it does, then you either haven't got the correct settings and the functionality on is on it correctly, or you know, you may have bad hosting, your images may not be optimized, there may be something else going on to cause that site speed. It may not necessarily be the display ads. But do you see a drop in site speed? You will. You'll see a small drop in site speed, but it's a price you have to pay if you're in it for money. I mean, I build affiliate websites to make money. My primary source is display ad revenue. So to maximize that, I need ads on the site. And if that slows my site down a little bit, I can live with that if I'm getting that nice paycheck every month. And the next question we've got is from, well, I don't know how to pronounce this. Let's have a go. Calicationoflife? I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to go with, this is the question from this viewer. And the question is, let's say I launch a site in the outdoor niche covering various topics, such as hiking, fishing, camping. Then my main post was something like the ultimate hiking guide, and it's a huge, insane, long piece of content. From there, do I link all the blog posts such as best hiking spots for XYZ, how much water for hiking, etc., and then use them posts for links back to the money post, such as hiking shoes 2020. Is that correct? Okay, so I think what you're describing is a silo structure, or a topical relevant structure, whatever you want to call it, or even just a category you can call it. On my mega site, my layout and my formula, so I have that ultimate guide to hiking. It might be a 5, 6, 7,000 complete guide. And then I have lots of information posts and lots of money posts that all link to each other and then back to that main one post. And that's what you call a silo structure. It's a very simple process. And people get confused and complicated with it. It is as simple as that. You're basically saying, I want that to be my main piece of content. That might even be my money post. And all these other pieces of content link back to that in a structure that Google can flow and crawl between the content very easily. That's all it is. You know, many people just call it a simple category, and other people call it silo or topical relevant structure. Whatever you want to call it, it's as simple as that. But it looks like you've got the formula nailed. That's exactly how I do mine. And it's not rocket science. Don't get too confused over it. Just keep it simple and clean and easy for Google to crawl. There's a saying in the SEO industry that your page or your relevant content should never be more than 2 clicks away. So if you've got your homepage, you should simply have one category. You click that and all your relevant content should be there. Now, whether that's your ultimate guide or your blog post, all those pieces of content should be clickable within 2 clicks. So if anybody gets on your website, they can find anything they want in under 2 clicks. And that's what a structure and a silo topic or a silo structure, that's how it works. Making it simple for Google to crawl your content. And the next question we have is from Josh Brown. And Josh asks, could you talk a little bit more about silo structures? I find it really confusing. Well, Josh, I can see that you're a paid member of my YouTube channel, so I really do appreciate that. It supports my channel. And like I said, I've just really talked about silo structures, and I have some other videos on that. If you want to reach out to me personally, if you're struggling with anything, head over to my Discord group and send me a message in there, and I'll explain it a little bit further. I have mentioned it in quite a few Q&A sessions recently, so I'm sure there's enough information there for you to figure that out. But like I say, just remember with a silo structure, make it as simple and as clean that Google knows and understands what you really want to be the focus, what you really want Google to focus on, and then link to that in a simple manner. That's all it is, keeping all that structure and all that topic in one relevant format or category. It's as simple as that, Josh. So thanks for joining me in this video. Like I said, this is it. That's it. That's all the Q&A done now for February. Next one will be out in March. Depending on how many questions there are, depends whether it'll be a one video or whether I split it into 2 videos. If you want to ask me any other questions, I'm always in my Discord group. I'm pretty active in there, so if you want to head over to that, the link is in the description below. feel free to jump in the group. With over 300 members in there now, it is incredible. And the support we give each other and the helpful advice, and we have a few laughs as well. It's a great platform to be on. So feel free, head over there and ask me any questions you would like. But for now, thanks for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.